what was it, 30 plus hours?
So what? 30 plus hours of podcasting. You do that in a week. I mean,
yeah, but it's a very different thing.
It's a very different thing. He's not doing a podcast like talking to people.
Okay, nor is he doing scholarly work.
You guys, today we have Jimmy Dore calling out Joe Rogan and Douglas Murray. Douglas Murray was on Joe Rogan's show just speaking a bunch of nonsense, and Jimmy Dore is calling it out. I'm giving my commentary as well.
During this debate on Joe Rogan, he exposed himself for using the most moronic non-arguments possible. And you're going to see it. I'll play this for you. This is like 5 minutes. Let's just watch this.
I do also think that one of the bigger, kind of the bigger picture dynamics to all of this is that we have, at least since 9/11, been in a state of perpetual war. And all of these wars have been disasters. They have been so many lies involved in selling all of them. I mean,
Now, I'll stop it quickly. Douglas Murray, very pro-war. Keep that in mind. Okay? And so that's why he doesn't like Dave saying this. And he's, so again, wrong, tremendously wrong on hugely important things. He's not an expert on war. He's not a general. He didn't go to war college, but he gets to opine on it. Everybody gets to opine on it. Okay, here we go.
The whole Iraq war, the whole war in Afghanistan, just lying the whole way through. I mean, I remember literally having conversations with Green Berets in the middle of the war in Afghanistan, and they're like, George W. Bush is telling you that the army we're building up there is really successful. This thing's going to fall in a week without us. And then all through the Obama administration, it's just like lie after lie after lie with disastrous wars. And so this does create a fertile ground for people to say, I wonder if they were lying about all these wars.
Sure.
Again, I'm not really trying to argue with you about World War II. I'd rather argue about these wars today.
I think the interesting question is whether you're busy watering it.
Well, should you not talk about mistakes that were made overall?
Absolutely.
Okay, you should.
Absolutely.
So he's immediately contradicting himself. So Douglas Murray immediately says, you shouldn't talk about these things. And then Joe says, well, you're not supposed to talk about it. He goes, oh, no, you should talk about it. Okay. I mean, it's like this for an hour. At least.
You should say what I want. That's what he means.
Yeah, exactly. So Kurt is here. Hi, Kurt.
Hey.
So here we go.
Right. I'm all for going back and looking at mistakes.
So what is your argument then?
So what is your argument? Well, let's hear what he's.
And I think it's funny that, they have different people on the right that are starting to, I would consider Jimmy Dore on the right. I would consider Joe Rogan on the right. I think that this is a big topic for the conservatives, this issue of the Israeli-Palestinian war. I think that this is the perfect, if you want to really see where the values are differing in the conservative space, you can always throw out this issue. You will have so many different opinions and a lot of conflicting viewpoints. I think it's a good way to start a conversation that may lead into some change, but that's just me.
The circuitous logic he uses.
Very weird thing to go back, zone in on a man, say this one thing is a mistake and should characterize him, and you ignore everything else.
You're taking him out of context when you're talking about Darrow, who's done, what was it, 30 plus hours?
So what? 30 plus hours of podcasting. You do that in a week. I mean,
but it's a very different thing.
It's a very different thing. He's not doing a podcast like talking to people.
Okay, nor is he doing scholarly work, nor is he working in the archives, clearly. Come on. I mean, he is not the historian of our era.
He's not complaining.
So nobody's allowed to give an opinion or to do 30 hours of a podcast on a subject if you clearly don't have a degree in it. He doesn't have a degree in shit. The guy
have an honorary PhD from
guy,
Tel Aviv or something?
No, he has an undergraduate degree in English. Yeah.
Wow. Well, he's got a PhD in SAS.
This is the thing, Joe. This is like punching jelly.
No, but you don't consume his work.
What I'm saying, because I don't need to consume endless versions of a revisionist.
But like punching jelly, is that some kind of homophobic slur? Well, Mr. Murray, jelly's right there. Start punching. Don't tell me about punching jelly and don't punch the jelly. Great, now I'm hungry and I have a boner. Okay. So my point is, he doesn't ever punch. He just makes these BS arguments that you're not an expert and you're focusing on the wrong. He doesn't ever make an actual argument about anything. This was a bad idea. So what I think Douglas Murray. So first of all, Glenn Greenwald made this point that if someone has a British accent, most people ascribe about 20% higher IQ points than they should. And if someone has a Southern American accent, they go 20% lower than they should. But this is
Sam Harris, for some reason, they give him like 40 points.
Yeah, because if you talk really softly, it makes you sound smarter.
If more kids had died during the pandemic, then a lot more people would have.
And again, I mean, for me, I think it's very important to always keep the conversation open. I don't like any of these guys personally. I mean, there's really nothing that I can agree with as far as anything else besides the issues in Palestine are concerned and the issues for free speech. You know, I'm playing this clip today because I'll hear a lot of progressive channels or, you know, just regular channels that I'll take in and consume that are saying, oh, conservatives, they're not even for free speech anymore. And it's like, no, they actually have quite a lot of people that were in the middle that voted for Trump, you know, that just so happened to now they're against free speech. So I think that this could be a bigger issue down the line that could be used. I'm not saying that I agree with these people whatsoever on any issue, but it's something that they agree with us on. And it's something that they could that could lead them back or just lead them to vote maybe against some fascism crap or some type of authoritarian rulership, you know? Or just come together as a people and find a way to actually make a difference.
Have been concerned about the dead kids.
Yeah, if something that didn't happen would have happened, then things would have been different. If the facts would have lined up differently, believe me, things would have been different if the facts were different. That's Sam Harris's argument about COVID, and now his. So anyway, so. Let's get back to this.
History, I understand.
But
I know
it's
where
not
this
revisionist history. If you listen to his work, it's not revisionist history. He's basing it on historical work.
I know. But okay, so this is my point about jelly. It's a shape-shifting thing. Comedian or historian?
He's not a comedian.
Historian.
So he's saying that you can't be a comedian and talk about history. You have to be a history expert, meaning you have to be degreed. I guess that's what he means. And if you're a comedian, you're not allowed to talk about anything, which is just complete garbage. It's just say it.
Dave Smith is the shape-shifting jelly.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Pick one, comedian or historian.
Well, what are you? What are you? Douglas Murray is. You're not a historian. You're not an expert. You're just a guy with an accent who's wrong about most things. Right about some things.
Sweet Hasbara pay.
Right, yes. Right about some things, wrong about most things. And wrong in a glaring way.
Or podcast. Would-be historian or actual historian? You say he doesn't claim to be a historian, but he's pumping out tens of hours of
neither
history.
Does Dan Carlin. He doesn't claim to be a historian either.
You see my point about the move.
So Dan Carlin, no, he doesn't criticize Dan Carlin because Dan Carlin agrees with him on Israel, Palestine, and all the other garbage. So it's okay if a guy isn't a bona fide historian, credentialed, then he opines. It's just when people that disagree with him. So this was the worst idea for Douglas Murray to do this. What I think Douglas Murray.
There we have it, you guys. Again, I'm just keeping an open mind because I know that people make mistakes. People have gone far off the rails, and I accept people, even if they can make mistakes, even if they are still not my bowl of grits, or, you know, if I don't completely agree with them. If they want to make a change and if they feel like they want to correct what the hell they've done, or, you know, not want to vote for authoritarianism anymore and start to see the cracks in their savior, quote unquote, and see what the hell this dude is doing, I think that it's important for us to call that out. Trump is co-signing on Gaza to be a freaking hotel, dude. Like, he wants this crap to get made. And I think that it's important for even his, you know, full-on supporters to start to see that this crap is not good. I mean, we've known this for a long time, but I think that they could start to shift the culture a lot, and people, starting to join in against this cult that they once were in. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's another day in the progressive way.